Hello, Michael Swain here after Kansas football's 37-21 win over Colorado. Here at Arrowhead Stadium, I really don't know where to begin with this. I feel like we go a lot of different ways. Let's just start with Devin Neal, because tonight's game and performance is an iconic performance for a Kansas icon. And he's going to get a statue. He's going to get everything. Like, this is one of the greatest players to ever play here. And tonight backed that up. And his performance, I think, encapsulates what KU was about tonight. Physicality, imposing your will on another team, and not giving up. And that's exactly what you saw from KU tonight in what I think was probably their most physically dominant performance of the year. And look, this is a team that I think, outside of maybe the BYU game, has been the more physically imposing team, and I think every single game this year. But tonight was a different level, and we can now talk about why that was. Obviously, there's a lot going on around Colorado, right? Deion Sanders as your head coach. A whole lot of extra attention goes on when you have a NFL Hall of Famer as your head coach. And there's some comments made by a different NFL Hall of Famer, Warren Sapp, this week, that clearly caught the attention of Devin Neal, Jalen Daniels, and the Kansas football team. If you watch the post-game press conference, they're asked about it. But I'll tell you what, this is something that has been brewing all week. I can't remember what day that was that Warren Sapp made the comments calling Jalen Daniels jitterbug, telling him to pitch the ball and not run the ball. He's going to get hurt if he does because he get hit so hard. I don't know. I think Colorado maybe hit him once, like actually squared him up once. But that was bulletin board material for this game. And for KU, you could just see it from Devin Neal and Jalen and all those guys. They came out and played with the point to prove. Because their team, if you look at the numbers this year, right, they are the best rushing offense in the Big 12 and one of the best rushing offenses in the country. And I think they probably felt disrespected by some of those comments. Actually, I don't even say I think, I know. They felt disrespected by those comments. And you could see that on the field. Now, Colorado is an insanely talented team on offense. And for KU to win this game, they need to limit the amount of plays Colorado runs. Because if you let Colorado get you in a track meet, they're going to put up 40. And unless you're really efficient, it's going to be hard to match them, right? Travis Hunter, they've got any number of wide receivers. Yes, they were out without Jimmy Horn, who is maybe their second best receiver, third best receiver. But they are a talented offense. So how do you beat Colorado? You take the ball out of their hands. And what is this Kansas team equipped to do? They did just that. They held the ball for 40 minutes. I can't remember the last time a Kansas team held the ball for 40 minutes. Because of how good their offense was. They ran for over 300 yards. Devin Neal runs for over $150 with an extra, I believe it was, 40 or 50 through the air? 80 yards through the air for Devin Neal. And as a result, KU holds the ball for 40 minutes. Total plays-wise, they ran 70-something. Colorado ran 40-something. That's how you beat Colorado. And everything that happened before the game plays into KU's hands, right? You're asking KU to embrace what it has done well this year, which is run the football. And that's what KU did. And we can get into any number of things from here, right? Jalen, I think, having a pretty clean game against someone like Travis Hunter and even some of the other members of the secondary for Colorado at corner, right? They can take the ball away from you. We talk about the offensive line for KU really paving the way, but Devin Neal making the most of his carries as well. And overall, the defense for KU did just enough. They start the game really well. It's a screen pass, maybe PI. Someone said that the legs got tangled, so that's a little harder to judge. But, maybe KU gets a little bit of luck there. You need luck to win games in the Big 12, especially when they are, considerably even contests. And then KU's defense comes and gets a fourth down stop, forces a turnover on downs. Again, 2 plays where there's a third and short that Colorado tries to run the ball, and then a fourth and short and Colorado tries to run the ball, and the defensive line for KU just blows it up because they're the more physical team. And it's 2 huge plays early in the game, and that's what gives KU the cushion to get up 17-0. Then Colorado turns it on at the end of the first half. KU needs that score. And we could talk about the red zone issues at the end or in the first half where KU gets, within the 10 3 times. It's 3 field goals. You're talking about points on the board in a game where you felt like maybe the second half would be more of a track meet. That felt like big points dropped, missed. But in the end, as we got to, it didn't really matter. But for KU's defense then, it felt like a little bit on the ropes to start the second half, but then there's that 8-minute drive from the offense that really just took the air out of the game, because Colorado went back on the field, and all of a sudden they had to go gas, pedal to the metal. And then Shooter Sanders pushes an official. Not a great idea. Probably something where if he was face-to-face with them, probably would have been ejected. But KU's defense then pinned their ears back and got pressure. They had a huge sack. Then you've got some pressure on fourth down. Colorado made some mistakes, and all of a sudden the Kansas defense that, has been a little porous at times, has a game where they hold one of the best offenses in the country, one of the best passing attacks in the country, to a grand total of 21 points. And that's how you win against Colorado. You hold the ball, you get just enough stops, and you're able to control the game. And Colorado is not up to the task physically. I'll say it again. That is my biggest takeaway from this game, is the fact that KU came out and dominated this team, right? And you've got people saying all week, Colorado's defense has gotten a lot better at stopping the run. Well, 3 out of the last 4 games, Colorado played teams that actually had a pulse, aka you take out Arizona and Utah, 2 teams without a pulse right now. And they gave up 150 yards to both teams, or all 3 of the 4 teams. Like, you're telling me that's going to stop what Kansas is doing? It's not. So, and as a result, KU plays spoiler once again. And, it was a really interesting question asked to Lance Leipold after the game. Does he feel like Kansas is the best team in the Big 12? I said, I think on a different podcast during the week, that it felt like Kansas is probably at the top, along with Colorado going into this game, of teams that are playing the best football right now in the Big 12. And I think today cements that KU right now is maybe the best team in the Big 12. Because you look at the other best team in the Big 12 right now, record-wise, it's Arizona State. And as we covered in that long walk and talk, walking back to the car back then, right? A lot went wrong for KU. That was a game KU maybe should have won. And I think if you want to get into the ifs, buts, what ifs, right? KU is looking like the team right now that I think a lot of us thought they would be at the start of the year. But you can't change that. I think what KU fans did today that can change things is create a great memory for these players. That's something that Devin Neal talked about post-game, the fact that this stadium was as full as it's been all year. And they get a great memory to wrap up their final home game. And that's a really important thing for KU now, where the fan support, credit to you all for sticking with it, right? Very easily could have said, I'm out. And I think a lot of people stuck with the team, and I think that they deserve credit, especially for folks that keep coming to games. And that creates a great moment for all of them here. And now KU gets a chance to go and play Baylor for, I think, probably the biggest game of Lance Leipold's tenure at Kansas, right? I think it's the first time KU's really faced a must-win game. Maybe Oklahoma State in 2022 felt like that a little bit with the way the season was going, right? The losing streak. Oklahoma State was banged up. KU coming off a bye. That felt like a big game. But this game against Baylor, guys, so much is going to be on the line. Bowl eligibility. The chance to be the first Kansas team to make 3 straight bowl games. That's a huge deal. And we can wrap up here talking about Jalen Daniels, who went through senior day. He said he graduates this semester, fun fact, and he wanted to walk with the rest of the guys, right? You think about this class, Luke Grimm, any number of these guys, right? They came in together, class of 2020. They went through COVID together. They went through a lot. The 0-9 season was some of the worst football I think I've seen Kansas football play, and he wanted to walk with those guys. He can still come back. That's a decision that will be covered later. Boy, will it be covered later. We'll have to see what happens with that. But right now, for KU wrapping up here at Arrowhead, been a different year. It's crazy to think next home game for Kansas will be against Fresno State at a newly renovated stadium, week 0. It's kind of crazy to think about, but for KU wrapping up here on the right foot, a game that I think meant a lot to a lot of these players. Not only winning on senior day, everything that comes with it, right? The momentum, the good memories. So for KU overall, a good win, and now it's on to Baylor, where KU's going to try and go and do the thing that they had a 3% chance of doing, according to ESPN's FBI, coming out of the Kansas State game, which is win, 4 straight games? Wow. We'll see what happens next week against Baylor. Of course, we'll have plenty of coverage for you about that game throughout the course of the week. And as always, thanks for watching these videos. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, keep them coming during basketball season. Plenty of interviews up on the YouTube channel as well. Make sure you're watching those. The Devin Neal one, I think, encapsulates who he is as a human being. You get to see the competitiveness, how much Kansas means to him, but also how much winning and being successful means to him as well. I think it's a really worthwhile interview. Yeah, that's what I got. Thanks always for watching. We'll talk to you all again soon. Sunday podcast, all that good stuff. You know the drill at this point. Well, I'll talk to you on Sunday.